doing the Revenger deck profile because it actually did good. Second place won a box of extra booster. So yeah, Judge Bow, starting Vanguard, all the plussing is really real. And then just a very standard trigger lineup. Nothing special about it. The draw triggers have been like god tier today. Everyone was like amazed at how much this deck triggered, but the deck thinning is probably a really good help. Grade 1s, I run 14. 4 Dorant, probably your best grade 1 in the deck because unflipping damage is very important for Abyss. And then I run 4 10k attacking Masquerades. It is amazing because the early game pressure, attacking grade 2s, and it makes columns with these sword breakers not bad because 16 columns. And then basically the sword breakers are there because Judge Bow. The main play is to Judge Bow into double sword breaker, Soul Blast 2, draw 2, so that's a +3. And then you use other things that I'll get to later to fix your columns, but that's basically the plussing engine. And then 3 Mac Lear, you decked in enough to hopefully get these enough. I mean, I've had a lot of times where I just ended up with 3 in hand, so it worked out pretty well for me today. Only like once or twice did I actually really need a perfect guard. And then I run 1 Shadow Lancer to search for the Mordreds if I need it in decked in. And it's easily called out by either the Judge Bow or the mana. But it's really not usually used past the point of riding grade 3 because you just want the Mordred first. And then grade 2 is the heart and soul of the deck, the Blaster Darks. My friend has my SP, so I have to use his because he's at Nationals. This is probably the best grade 2. It's really just primarily used for the damage on flipping though. But killing rear guards early game is really good too because the grade 2 rushdown with this deck is pretty real. Killing front row and back row, especially with Dorant, just for counterblast 1s. It's really nice. And then grade 2's continuing. I run 12 by the way. 3 Abyss. You need it to Legion. You can hit back row with it. It's counterblast 1. It's just an overall good card, but I felt like you don't need 4, and I'd like to thank my friend for, giving me 1 for my birthmas. Well, 2 technically, but I don't run the other one right now. And then 3 Mac Art, the card that makes Swordbreaker amazing because the Judge Bow into at least a Swordbreaker, you call it behind the Vanguard. Make sure you have a Mac Art, perform Legion, and then this is behind the Vanguard somewhere. And then you just call using his skill over it because you don't need the boost because you either broke road or you're still swinging for 22 regardless. So you basically plussed with this earlier, you don't need it anymore. You call a Revenger name so you don't have to make awkward column attacks. You just have like Mac Art, a booster, and that, and just attack, or like another column. That's why I kind of like it like that. Especially if you have double sword breaking, you have double Mac Art, you just fixed all your problems and you decked in so hard. Which is why there's 14 grade 1s, because you really need to be able to thin them and have enough to actually boost things. And then to round it off, I run 2 mana. The early game potential to pitch Mordreds, or the free cost for Abyss and whatnot for sacking. You basically just call 15 column, attack a rear guard, usually, unless they're like lower than grade 3 or a 10k Vanguard, and you just get decent pressure with it, and then you just sack it after for like not that much of a minus, since you got 1 rear guard for free that has to go back to the deck at the end of the turn. And then I run 3 break rides, searchable with the grade 1, and it's your main Vanguard that you want to ride into because the break ride turn is ridiculous, swinging for 32 unboosted twice unless you have a booster, and it just gets even more ridiculous. Yeah, that's like the best finishing play. And then I run 3 Abyss. It's the main part of Legioning and standing Vanguard that doesn't eat away at your hand, it eats away at your field, so you don't have to discard awkward things usually. And you can kill off awkward columns. If you play against witches, you just eat your zeros that they called. Or you just pretty much eat anything, really. just to get your effect off, because as shown, the standing of 22 columns unboosted is still really good. And then the last grade 3, the 1 tech drag ruler, it has saved my life many a times. If they rush me a limit break early, or if I just have my opponent guard so hard that they're like at 3 damage but their hand is pretty low. So you just go into drag ruler and then just eat your units. Usually you call a mana, just eat it, it's free pretty much. Even though you lose the 5k boost, you're just boosting the Vanguard at that point, unless you know they have the perfect guard. But it's still nice to put them to 4 or 5 when they're at 3 or 4, just to get the extra pressure, and then they have to guard your rear guards after that, which is why I like it. People didn't expect it, and it still has the cross break ride, and just being cross ride is kind of nice sometimes. It saved my life from guarding hard, and I guess that's really all there is to this deck.